come to a very important issue now as we begin to identify the filters that we're going to be thinking about. Whatever coursework we're in, whatever class we're taking, whatever program we're listening to, movie we're evaluating, news source we're engaging, doesn't matter. Remember this focus on the filters right behind me. All of the information that we receive as people are going to run through these 5 filters. So I wanted to make sure to highlight the first one here. This one has to do with knowledge. So the K in claim is knowledge. The 2 questions that everybody needs to ask, but quite frankly we need a whole course to engage each one of them. The first one is, how do we know anything? And that's really a big question, and people have written books on it. I've read all of these books on how do we know things. And that's a big question, but I want you to know that that's really a primary issue and one that you need to think about. The second question is knowledge neutral? That is, can anything be neutral at all? Can anything be unbiased or unprejudiced? And we'll be getting into some of those ideas as well. But here, in the knowledge category, in the knowledge filter, I wanted to suggest these 4 words to you: frames, facts, faiths, and feelings. The first one, the frames, is where everybody begins. This is our assumption base. This is where we begin our process of thinking. All of us bring assumptions with us to whatever discussion we're having, whatever argument, whatever interpretation of data, whatever. We're bringing our assumptions with us. We'll talk more about that. The facts, the evidences, the why do I believe what I believe is crucial here. The things that are really important to me as I've begun to do my research into whatever the question might be are the facts that I'm after. Faiths. Now, this is something that in the humanities, unfortunately, is often bypassed, but it's something that everybody has. That is, we all have a worldview. We view the world through a lens, and that's a really important concept to get a hold of. We'll talk more about that when we talk more about interpretation. That is the what do I believe? And everybody believes a what. And whatever the what may be different than mine or yours or some other groups. But nonetheless, we need to acknowledge that these things actually exist. The fourth is our feelings. And this is, quite frankly, where we begin most of our discussions, unfortunately, I would add. Most of us begin with our psychological makeup. How do we emotively respond to this? I think in every culture, we have a tendency to begin with our emotions first and then kind of work backwards. In a course, in any kind of discussion, I'm really hoping that we can move past that. In fact, flip it around so that we begin by understanding the frameworks that we begin with, the facts we're after, the faith situation that we engage with, and then ultimately our feelings. This is where we're going to go in the very first filter of knowledge. Wanted to give you just an overview of that idea so that that's the first filter you think about when you think about how do I interpret anything.